to the third episode of our expose series, in which we uncover the dubious, dual agendas of certain groups which reside in the West and exploit issues of the Indian society. The people behind the Equality Labs published incomplete reports, took funds from questionable sources, and dreamt of not a nation but divided sects. They fail to understand that reaching that point will make the ground they are standing on a no man's land. Namaskar, I'm Ananya Raheja and you're watching The Big Debate. Welcome to the third episode of our expose series, in which we uncover the dubious, dual agendas of certain groups which reside in the West and exploit issues of the Indian society. Not only that, the origins of these people lie in the neighboring country of Pakistan, the same Pakistan which is struggling to make ends meet and is roaming around the world with its begging bowl. In our previous episodes, we saw how individuals such as Tanmoy Soundararajan, Kashiful Huda, Huma Dar, George Soros, along with other accomplices, have framed out this foul network of institutions which not only propagate lies, but their sole aim is to break India. Let us remind you once again that Soros Open Society Foundation is that business conglomerate which has vouched to debilitate India's government. Equality Labs, which first got attention in the mainstream after its report on caste-based discrimination in the West, was not the first nor the last of its kind. The entities who created Equality Labs also promoted the idea of divided, broken parts of India. Their plans were not limited to propagating a false idea about India, but delved much deeper. One of their secessionist projects was named Dalitstan, a separatist ideology similar to that of Khalistan and Dravidstan. A Disinfolab report named Institutionalization of a Fault Line revealed how a website called Dalitstan was launched in 1999 by a group of US-based individuals who propagated the idea of secession of India into multiple parts. Among other parts, they also aspired for a separate nation for Dalits. The Dalitstan they dreamt of was a unique collusion of Christian missionaries and members of the Jamaat-e-Islami, who also envisioned a separate carved-out nation from India. And surprisingly, neither of them had Indian origins. The secessionist website from a very different part of the world. The founders and supporters of Dalitstan were all church-going Americans. Kermit Northcutt, Deborah Schwartz, George Schwartz, Helen Ackland, Andy Moore. These were the people who formed Dalitstan. An experiment was constructed, weaponizing caste to disintegrate the nation, seeding lies of deceit. Dalitstan was registered under Helen Ackland, who was serving as its president. Another key member, Kermit Northcutt, is a devoted Christian. He is a member of Antioch Christian Academy. The academy is under the Antioch Network, which was founded in 1987 as a multicultural fellowship that spans the globe and runs its mission in the US. The Antioch Christian Academy is affiliated to Antioch Missionary Baptist Church of Lucedale. The founder of Antioch Network, George Miley, is also an advisor to Dalit Freedom Network in the US. The irony here is the so-called Dalitstan, which toots that it is formed to support the marginalized communities, was not formed by people of India. The founders of Dalitstan have never been to India. They have never known the ground reality of this country. Instead, they contacted some eminent faces from India. One of these individuals was V.T. Rajshekhar. Rajshekhar was approached by Helen Ackland to use the content of his offline magazine Dalit Voice for the Dalitstan website. Now, who is V.T. Rajshekhar? Rajshekhar is an Indian journalist and activist and founder of the magazine Dalit Voice. He has also worked for Indian Express for 25 years before starting his own venture, Dalit Voice. Rajshekhar has been castigated on multiple occasions for his anti-India activities performed on foreign soil. His passport was confiscated in 1986 for his controversial writings, links and activities. He was also arrested under Terrorism and Disruptive Prevention Act, or TADA, and later on he was also booked under the Sedition Act of the Indian Penal Code. Articles of Dalit Voice were later republished on an independent website called informationtimes.com from January 2004 onwards. Now let us tell you about the founder of informationtimes.com. InformationTimes.com is founded by a Pakistani national and Washington-based journalist Syed Adib. Adib has previously been caught spreading conspiracy theories via his portals. He tried to set up a misleading narrative about the 9/11 attacks, which was later unsubstantiated. He advertised the ISI's propaganda on Kashmir and voiced his support for the convicted ISI-linked Ghulam Nabi Faiz activities against the Indian embassies in the US. The West was very keen, very interested in Rajshekar's work. He got recognition from the West. He was awarded the International Award 2005 from a London-based organization called London Institute of South Asia, also known as LISA. The institution mainly works in matters related to South Asian nations and claims that it works without any affiliations to any governments or political parties. But here's the catch. By book definition, LISA is a not-for-profit organization specializing in the affairs of South Asian nations. However, in reality, it is a front set up by Pakistani diplomats, journalists, and is run by the ISI and retired Pakistani army officers. Entities like Ghulam Nabi Faiz, who have links with ISI, are members of this institution. LISA is a hub for the ones who are anti-India. It was registered by Saeed Ismat, a Pakistani diplomat who served as Pakistan's ambassador to Azerbaijan. Other than Dalitstan, they planned on dividing the Indian territory into more fragments. Separating Kashmir from India has been the long-awaited dream of these separatist elements based on foreign soil, and Humadar and Equality Labs played the role of adding fuel to the fire. The website of Dalitstan actively vouched for a separate Kashmir. The website referred to a list of go-to internet resources on Kashmir. The list of websites or entities or individuals mentioned in the list including Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front, the UKJKLF, Ghulam Nabi Faiz from the Kashmir American Council, Kashmir Canadian Council, and World Kashmir Freedom Movement. This was the time when Ghulam Nabi Faiz and Ayub Thakur were working as ISI operatives from US and UK respectively. Another website named Jihad-e-Kashmir also published content to provoke minds and incite a rebellion fire in them for freeing Kashmir. Jihad-e-Kashmir also published a monthly magazine for children titled Mujahid, where they would imbibe the idea of an independent Kashmir. Jihad-e-Kashmir, its publications and its agenda were all being operated in the Al-Akram building in Pakistan's Rawalpindi. The Al-Akram building is the hub of some of the most notorious radical groups which function with the idea of breaking India. One such group is Al-Badr, the group behind numerous terrorist attacks in India, including the 2019 Pulwama attack. It is one of the member organizations of the United Jihad Council. Al-Badr was formed in 1998 to liberate Kashmir from India and its subsequent merger with Pakistan. The idea of a separate Kashmir has not been mentioned once but multiple times through multiple domains. One of the most strongest and rigid groups are the separatists who demand for a separate nation for Sikhs. Khalistan, a separatist movement concocted by the ISI with Dr. Jagjit Singh Chauhan in 1971. Babbar Khalsa International and the Council of Khalistan were two Sikh separatist organizations endorsed by Dalitstan. Babbar Khalsa International was formed in 1978 and was one of the most violent Sikh separatist groups behind many militant insurgencies, including the 1985 Air India bomb blast that killed nearly 329 innocent civilians. It has been banned by the Indian government under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act or the UAPA. The Council of Khalistan was set up by Dr. Gurmeet Singh Aulak, a research scientist based in the US. Aulak lobbied the US politicians for targeting India and at the same time raised the demand for a separate country for Sikhs. In addition to being promoted by Dalitstan, Council of Khalistan got technical assistance from Syed Adib, who helped in backlinking and promoting the Council of Khalistan website through his website, InformationTimes.com. Another such separatist idea is Mughalistan. It was formed with the idea of a country for people who were descendants of the Mughals. It aimed for self-determination of Islam in India and decline of other religions in the country. They also sought restoration of the Caliphate and Islamization of all people living in the country. To go about the plan, a map of Mughalistan was created with a portion of North India spanning till Bangladesh. As per top sources in the Indian government, the map was created by the Mughalistan Research Institute of the Jahangirnagar University in Bangladesh under the patronage of Pakistan's ISI and Bangladesh's Director General of Forces Intelligence. Toolkit for Mughalistan consisted of writing to the politicians, lobbying the politicians, forum discussions on various news platforms, mass emailing, anonymous posting, news groups, hacking and impersonation of identities. Jihad-e-Mughalistan was one key proponent aiming to wage war to restore the Mughal Caliphate. In addition to promoting Jihad-e-Mughalistan on its website, Mughalistan also glorified Al-Qaeda chief Osama bin Laden and Lashkar-e-Taiba chief Masood Azhar for waging war against India. In the third episode of this series, we saw how all these websites and their founders are linked to one another. How every person who has been associated with Dalitstan, and for that matter, even with equality labs, are directly linked to separatist movements initiated by Pakistan. This is a stark reminder to every Indian to wake up. Wake up to the charade of vanilla sky, to the grim reality, the big picture. Wake up before the blue sky you're standing under turns red. The ugly truth is that if we dare to dig deep enough, we can easily decipher the grand plot of lies that have been concocted by these entities along with their handlers sitting in the West. In our next episode of this series, we will look much further. We will see how these lies were sewn into a system and why this system sustained for this long. How these issues expanded and crossed beyond boundaries.